I'm Charlie Brooker and you're watching Screenwipe, a programme all about television in 2008. The year will chiefly be remembered for three things: the election of Barack Obama, the implosion of the global economy and, of course, the release of Guns N' Roses' Chinese Democracy. Throughout the year, for the most part, TV trod water, still scarred by memories of 2007, in which the world and his dog accused it of being a lying, cheating scumbag. TV largely played it safe, with the biggest controversy of the year emanating from the world of radio instead. So what did happen on TV during 2008? Well, this did. The first month, aka January, began with EastEnders kicking off the year in cheery style with a half-hour episode consisting of nothing but Dot Cotton dictating a heartbreaking message about the limitations of love to a sick old man via a tape recorder.
Hello, Jim. It's me, Dorothy. I'm sitting here in the kitchen and I'm talking to you.
Now, I know some viewers have complained I've been doing too much mock wanking this series and that it's puerile and unnecessary, but come on, look at this.
I'm in the kitchen at the table.
Oh, she's all on her own in the kitchen. Oh.
Everybody is missing you and they're praying for you.
Anyway, this single-handed experiment proved so successful, EastEnders bosses are currently planning a one-off 16-hour special in which Ian Beale sits in an airing cupboard singing to his thumb.
Speaking of which, January also saw the arrival of a terrifying episode of Horizon in which a group of volunteers were locked in an underground bunker and subjected to various forms of total sensory deprivation until their very souls started dribbling out of their ears.
There's a snake there. She's just going along.
That is mental. I mean, who'd voluntarily sit around in a tiny cell-like room for hours with nothing but their own thoughts for company until they started just talking out loud just to keep themselves sane?
In the next month, February, former Atomic Kitten pop starlet turned unfortunate tabloid fodder Kerry Katona gave birth on TV in a startling episode of her MTV reality series.
That Rock Rival show, right, was about these, like, judges on this X Factor type show, and it was so realistic. Like, I thought it was real, you know, until, like, a mate of mine pointed out all the names on the end credits. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, my God. You know, they were actually played by real actors.
No, I'd stopped believing in myself, and now I feel like I've just turned a corner and...
I thought Michelle Collins, right, was playing this judge, but as it turns out, right, she was playing this Michelle Collins judge, right, as Michelle Collins. It was amazing. Some of the things they say are so realistic that people don't even say them in real life. It was genius. Genius.
As March hauled itself over the hillside, the Duchess of Lemon Squeezers, Lady Delia Smith, returned to our screens only to appall middle-class self-appointed food guardians everywhere by having the temerity to use frozen mash and tinned mince in a series of innocuous time-saving recipes.
In my bowl here, I've got some cooked mince. It's been cooked with onions and flavourings, but I didn't cook it. And actually, it came from here.
Yes, OK, so some of her new creations looked a little bit gross, but given the reaction of jumped-up self-appointed gourmets in some sectors of the national press, you could be forgiven for thinking she'd been shitting in the saucepans or denying the Holocaust while reheating kidney beans. Of course, the irony is that what with the credit crunch, we'll all be eating tinned slurry and frozen mash in a desperate bid to survive for the next 5 years.
Sir Alan Sugar returned to our screens with Series 89 of The Apprentice. Applicants included the terrifying and motionless Jenny Bott, dashing Rafe Thingybum, nice guy Simon, and Alex, an horrible walking glass of water who perpetually did this funny, nervous, lip-pursing twitch which made his mouth look like a little pink and purple cat's bum.
Also in March, BBC4 continued its successful series of suicidally depressing dramas based on well-loved media figures with The Curse of Steptoe, which made the privilege of acting in classic sitcom Steptoe and Son look like a harrowing endless cycle of bitterness and misery and rage and sorrow and anguish and hatred, bile and nihilistic staring.
I'm currently working on my own script, actually, called The Curse of Screenwipe, which consists of nothing but me staring angrily into the middle distance for about 6 hours. But to give it some depth, first I'm going to develop a smack habit and have a secret love child, which I'll then drown in a sack round the back of a gay sauna.
April brought a veritable shower of brilliant entertainment into our lives. Beat the Star sounds like a euphemism for anal sex, but sadly it isn't. Instead, it was a game show in which a plebby member of the public had to try and win some cash from Vernon Kay.
I want to give them the money. They can have it. but only if they beat the star.
God, I wish that was a euphemism.
Instead of beating Vernon's star, they had to take on a glittering sports personality like Amir Khan in a series of exciting challenges in hope of winning some cash.
And when I say exciting challenges, I bloody mean it. They went head to head, hammering nails into a plank, standing up a stick, milking a cow, dangling off a bar, and most exciting of all, recognising the Chancellor.
Amir, I thought it was Trevor McDonald.
Also in April, The Kids Are All Right, a child-friendly game show that was in no way similar to Sky's Are You Smarter Than a 10-year-old, apart from about 5,000 similarities.
Hello, and welcome to The Kids Are All Right.
Actually, it did have one major difference. I don't recall Noel Edmonds ever apparently cajoling the contestants into thrashing children.
Each game is worth big money, but only if you beat the kids. And do you know what the kids get out of this?
A beating?
If you beat a 10-year-old, you'll add 10,000 to your prize fund. Beat a 15-year-old, and you'll add 15,000.
Fuck it, come on, I'll do 2 5-year-olds for a tenner.
Will anyone beat the kids?
Anyway, when Barrowman wasn't doing that, he was shouting every line at the top of his lungs like he was trying to give the country next door tinnitus.
Information overload!
You know.
Overrule! That's Alex. That is correct. The kids are all right.
Jesus!
It's the correct answer!
Jesus Christ!
In May, Sky One answered the prayers of a yearning nation by reviving the most fondly remembered TV show of all time. The new version was a stunning mix of familiar challenges and exciting new gladiators, namely Farmhand, Receptionist, Jeffrey, MILF, Bastard, Camel Toe, Lubricant, Dorito, Pouch, Michael Hutchins, Septum, and Brezhnev.
Actually, those weren't their real titles. Instead, as per tradition, all the male gladiators had names that made them sound like gay nightclubs, and they were all dressed like backing dancers at an Erasure concert.
May also saw the debut of Don't Forget the Lyrics, a millionaire-style karaoke contest in which members of the public had to perform songs and keep ploughing through the lyrics even when the music stopped like there'd been a power cut.
Leave it all behind.
Don't forget the lyrics, 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 don't forget the lyrics!
I didn't mean it.
Clearly, this was so entertaining, ITV wanted a piece of the action itself, so it quickly introduced Who Dares Sings, which was, as unlikely as it sounds, a poor man's Don't Forget the Lyrics, fronted by squawking fun commandant Denise Van Shoutem and Ben Shepherd, a man with less personality than a wireframe diagram of a dentist's chair. Aside from some devastatingly shit performances,
spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar.
It also contained horrific mass sing-alongs, essentially a nightmare vision of Britain's inevitable future in which every citizen is herded into a studio at gunpoint and forced to take part in the X Factor. June saw the arrival of the 200th annual outing for the increasingly beleaguered controversy magnet Big Brother. This year's lineup included a Robert Crumb fantasy woman paired with a Sylvester Stallone figurine card from Boiled Ham, Ted Danson, one of the League of Gentlemen, Bingo from the Banana Splits, a man with a croissant on his head, and Cupid's Stump.
This lot look like a fun bunch. I can't wait to see what light-hearted hijinks they're going to get up to. Oh.
This was possibly the most ill-tempered Big Brother ever, with 2 contestants being removed for threatening behaviour and the rest being left in for boring behaviour.
I can just imagine me with a big tuba, boo, and Sunday knock against me.
You know, a lot of people say there's nothing to be learned from Big Brother's grand social experiment anymore, but that isn't true. This year, for the first time in my life, it taught me to genuinely hate a blind man.
Standards are slipping.
Oh, go and bump into a wall.
The scabby hand of controversy also stroked the face of ITV's daytime blathering festival Loose Women as puppet-faced American comedian Joan Rivers unexpectedly turned the air blue.
He is a piece of, get ready to bleep this, fucking shit.
Yeah, I avoid that sort of controversy on this show by bleeping myself with a foot-operated pedal that I keep down here. Look.
Phew, what a scorcher. It's July, and to celebrate, the BBC launches Bone Kickers, an attempt to combine the methodical precision of archaeological excavation with the nerve-jangling thrills of fatuous made-up bullshit. But drama wasn't all bad this year. The BBC also brought us the gripping criminal justice, while FX screened the 5th and final series of the sublime crime drama, The Wire. August saw the start of the Beijing Olympics.
The games themselves opened with a spectacular opening ceremony, which, thanks to draconian legal issues, we can't show you. But neither could Sky News, at least not on the night. They had to make do with plopping Jeremy Thompson somewhere sort of near the Bird's Nest Stadium and making him wobble on about how amazing it all wasn't.
Out here we can give you an impression of the lights that are lighting up the night sky.
Then it turned out these fireworks weren't made of real fire at all, but pixels. Although they were real enough when this dimbo reportress tried to do a piece to camera in front of them on cheapo news network Russia Today.
From the Chinese capital, Katrina Zava for RT.
Anyway, when they'd done complaining about fake fireworks, the journalists moved on to cover slightly less weighty topics like the ongoing oppression of free speech. While trying to cover a slightly feeble-throated Free Tibet protest, ITN's John Ray was manhandled by the Chinese fuzz. Unable to shout them into understanding English, the distinguished journo was left looking a bit like a man having his ice cream van repossessed.
I hope to see you later.
Relations between the British news media and the Chinese had fallen to an all-time low, and then something weird happened. We started winning. And not just a bit, but a lot. Suddenly, the nasty Beijing Games were the best Olympics ever. Still, impressive though these achievements were, my favourite British athlete at the Games was former Olympian James Cracknell, who turned up repeatedly on Super Slick News at 10 to wow the nation with his prowess at the 200 metres pause.
James Cracknell will be here on News at 10 every night with his highlights of the day. James.
Thanks, Mark.
And here he is with his highlights of the rest of the day's action.
Day 4 of the Games.
And here he is with his highlights of the rest of the day's action. James.
Thanks, Mark. It's been a real privilege.
But not all the world's reporters were covering the Games, because some of them were busy with a little war between Russia and Georgia.
As well as providing great pictures, it was a good chance for the network's war correspondents to flex those flak-jacketed muscles.
You know, there's a fun game a lot of these guys play where they obviously run into position and start recording a link and try and get the timing just right so the camera can pull out to reveal that, hey, our hero was standing there all along. And the absolute master at this has to be ITN's Julian Mannion.
The Georgian government insists that its troops have not been humiliated. But
oh, lovely reveal.
Condoleezza Rice's swiftly arranged visit is intended as a strong demonstration of support for the embattled Georgian president.
Oh, now that is a good reveal, and 36 bonus points for catching the Secret Service guy nipping off for a piss. Anyway, the stiff upper lip of us Brits was in stark contrast to Fox's all-American Steve Harrigan, who seemed to spend all his time during the war running away like a pussy.
We are going to get out of here right now, because the bombing is coming closer.
But is the little man scared of the war?
There's just a text message to journalists from the BBC that said, get out now. We don't know why. We're getting out now.
Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo, Steve.
Georgian forces, Manager, have begun to fire at journalists with pistols.
And when he wasn't chickening out of a bullet in the lung like a fucking coward, he was failing to help an old woman with her bags.
She says she doesn't know who's to blame. She doesn't know where to point the fingers. But she also doesn't know where she's going to sleep tonight.
Well, give her a hand, then, you
The news starts now.
Fox News is the master at sanitising this kind of thing when it wasn't pimping the footage until it resembled a previously on segment at the start of an episode of CSI. It was telling viewers why they should care.
Here's why you should care.
Because our fellow human beings are being killed?
First, there's a major oil pipeline in that area.